Hi, welcome to video lecture series on CS22076 server-side programming. In this video lecture, we will discuss about the numbers like integers, float, and the number strings in PHP. In PHP, there are three main numeric types used. They are integer, float, and number strings. Additionally, two more number types are used. They are infinity and NaN, which means not a number. PHP is a loosely typed language, that is, variables are created of particular type when you assign a value to them. You need not to declare the type of the variable when you declare or define it. When you assign an integer value to a variable, the variable becomes of integer type. When you assign a float value to a variable, the variable becomes of float type. Now we will see about the numeric types one by one. First, we will see about the PHP integers. In PHP, integer is a number without decimal point. For example, 2, 156, minus 67 are all integers. Here I have specified the maximum and minimum integer number that can be stored in a variable for both 32 and 64-bit systems. If we try to store a value greater or lower than this range, will be stored as float. Is_int function checks if its argument is an integer. If the argument is an integer, then it will return true, otherwise false. In the given example, 59 is assigned to $x. Then in the echo statement, is_int of $x evaluates to true because $x contains 59. It is an integer. The echo statement is used to output strings. When echo is used with the boolean true, it outputs 1. If it were false, it would output nothing. Therefore, echo is_int of 59 will output 1. Var_dump function is designed for debugging and provides detailed information about a variable or expression, including its data type and value. When var_dump encounters a boolean true, it explicitly displays its type and value. Therefore, var_dump of is_int of $x will output boolean of true. Now we will see about the PHP integer constants. PHP provides several predefined integer constants that offer information about the PHP environment and system capabilities related to integers. The most commonly used integer constants in PHP are PHP_int_max, which represents the maximum integer value, then PHP_int_min, which represents the lowest negative integer value, then PHP_int_size, which represents the size of the integer. We will see one by one about these constants. PHP_int_max. This constant represents the largest integer value supported by the current PHP build. This value depends on whether PHP is running on a 32-bit or 64-bit system. Next, PHP_int_min. This constant represents the smallest integer value supported by the current PHP build. This is typically the negative of PHP_int_max minus 1. Then PHP_int_size. This constant indicates the size of an integer in bytes on a current system. This value is usually 4 bytes for 32-bit systems and 8 bytes for 64-bit systems. These constants are useful for tasks such as checking integer overflow or underflow. Determining if a calculation might exceed the maximum or minimum integer value. Then it is used for system-specific optimizations, adapting code behavior based on the integer size of the underlying system. Then it is also used for debugging and information gathering, displaying system-specific integer limits for diagnostic purposes. Next, we see about the floating point numbers in PHP. Floating point number is a number with a decimal point or number in exponential form. For example, 3.14 is a floating point number. IsFloat is a function that is used to check if the type of a variable is float or not. Here we have assigned 4.32 to $x. Echo statement will print the return value of isFloat function as 1. Var underscore dump function will print as boolean true. Interpretation of isFloat and var dump function is same as that we have already discussed for integer. Floating point numbers in PHP will have a precision of 14 digits. Just like integer, floating point numbers have some constants. PHP underscore float underscore max gives the largest floating point number. PHP underscore float underscore min gives the minimum floating point number. PHP underscore float underscore digit gives the number of decimal digits that can be rounded into a float and back without precision loss. In PHP, a numeric string refers to a string that can be interpreted as a number, either an integer or a float. PHP loose typing allows for automatic type juggling in many contexts. That is, numeric string can often be used directly in operations that expect numbers. For example, 123 within double quotes is a numeric string. Let us see an example to know how numeric string works. Consider the expression $num equal to 10 within double quotes plus 22. Here, we are trying to add a numeric string 10 with 22. When a numeric string is used in an arithmetic operation with a number, PHP attempts to convert the string to its numeric equivalent. Hence, numeric string 10 is converted to integer and added with 22, we get the result as 32. If it is a non-numeric string is added with an integer, non-numeric string is typically treated as 0. In the next example, non-numeric string ABC is added with 22. Since a non-numeric string is treated as 0, we get the 22 as a result for the expression. Then, isNumeric function checks whether a variable is a number or a numeric string. This function returns true if the variable is a number or a numeric string. Otherwise, it returns false or nothing. Now, we will see some examples for numeric string. In our first example, we assign the integer 5985 to the variable $x. When we pass $x to isNumeric function, it returns true because 5985 is a number. In the second example, we assign the string 5985 to $x. Now, PHP see it as a numeric string. So, isNumeric function returns true. In the third example, we assign the string hello to $x. This is not a number and it does not represent one either. So, isNumeric correctly returns false. Therefore, isNumeric is great for checking if a value is either a number or something that looks like one. It's especially useful for input validation or type checking. Now we will see about integer and float and their related functions practically. For that, open the notepad and type some PHP code. $x equal to 3. Here I am going to check whether $x contains integer or not. For that I am going to use isInteger functions. In the echo statement, is underscore int of $x. Then complete the script and save it in the XAMPP folder. I am going to name the script as num underscore test.php. Here I have saved the script. Now we will see the output for the script. Open the browser and type localhost/myapp, then num underscore test.php. Press enter. Here we get the output as 1 because $x contains the integer value. So each integer functions return whether the variable contains integer or not. If the variable contains integer, then it returns true. It is interpreted as 1. If the variable contains other than integer, it returns false. Now we will see how each integer function reacts when a variable contains a floating point number. For that I am going to declare Now we will see how each integer function reacts when a variable contains a floating point number. For that I am going to declare another variable $y equal to 3.14. Then I am printing the result with a echo statement. Is int of $y. Save the script. Now we will see the output for the script. For that open the browser and refresh the page. Here we see nothing as output from the second echo statement because in PHP when you attempt to print the boolean value using echo statement or print function, it results in a empty string rather than explicitly displaying false or 0. To explicitly display the boolean value, use the var_dump function. In order to print the boolean value, we are going to use a var_dump function for the isInteger function. Echo type echo break statement var_dump of isInteger of $y. Save the script. Here $y contains a floating point number. When $y is passed to the isInteger function, it returns false because 3.14 is a floating point number. When it is used with the var_dump function, it explicitly displays the false as the output. Save the script. Then go to the browser, refresh the page. Here we get the output as boolean of false. Now we will see the maximum integer value supported by the PHP in this machine. For that I am going to use echo statement break. Then I am using the PHP underscore integer underscore max constant. Save the script, go to the browser, then refresh the page. So this is the maximum integer value supported by this PHP version in this machine. Let us summarize what we have seen in this video lecture. We have seen the numeric data types in PHP such as integer, float, and numeric strings. Thank you.